Next up, we'll talk about the game at 4 Eastern time on TNT. Texas and Clemson. Clemson is now, at least last time I checked, are 12-point underdogs, which it's moved up. It opened at 10.5, went up to 11 pretty quickly, then moved up to 11.5. Now it's all the way to 12, at least on DraftKings it was when I checked. Could have changed by now. I don't know. The over-under here is 52. How do you feel about this game?
I'll be honest, I'm surprised that the line is where it is. I've been kind of surprised on kind of the way people have talked about Texas all season. It feels like they're like one of the elite teams out there, but it's like, just believe me when I say they're one of the elite teams, right? Just they haven't necessarily proven they're one of the elite teams. It's just a vibe that they're one of the elites out there. I think people are sleeping on Clemson. I really like Clemson to cover the 12 points, just because I still don't know what to make of Texas, and I'm not even that high on Clemson. I think this game, when you're talking about unders, like this game has under written all over it to me, because as like Texas has been like one of the better offenses in the country between the 20s, and then it feels like a lot of their games, they just don't have as many points as they should have in terms of how much they've dominated the game. Like Georgia game was definitely one of those games, 6 points despite dominating the first 2 quarters of that game. So there's just something, especially Texas A&M was definitely a game where they dominated and the scoreline didn't really show it. So I think Clemson is like, I don't really buy them because they had basically lost to all the good teams they played before SMU. So it's not that I'm high on Clemson, but I think everyone else is too low on Clemson, that I kind of like this to be like a 24-14, 24-17 type game that like is a game into the fourth quarter, even though it feels like it might feel like Clemson's not, maybe kind of like Texas A&M, like the Texas A&M Texas game. Like it doesn't feel like they're in the game, but they're still mathematically in the game in the fourth quarter. It could be that kind of vibe. I just don't really see Clemson getting blown out in this one.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with that at all. I mean, Texas does struggle in the red zone. It's the weakest part of the team. If they were average in the red zone, just average, they would probably be the SEC champion right now. They'd probably be 12-1, but they aren't. They're god awful in the red zone. They've gotten even worse. So 2022, they were 13th in red zone scoring. 2023, they were 79th in red zone scoring. And this year, they are 106th in red zone scoring. So they are abysmal. And this is the craziest thing. So in the last 6 quarters between Georgia and Texas A&M, just 6 quarters, not including the overtime, Texas has like 100 or 620 something or 630 something yards of offense, and they have 16 points.
Wow.
So, yeah, they move the ball at will on any defense in between the 20s, but they struggle to score. And that's why I agree with you. I think that's how this game's going to go. I think Texas does win the game because they're the better football team, and that's basically what they've been able to do is when they're the better team, they've been able to win. When the talent is pretty close, like Georgia and Texas are, and then you're not able to execute in the red zone, you lose the game. I don't think the talent's equal here. I think Texas is a more talented football team than Clemson at this point. I think they're a better football team than Clemson at this point. But I do think it's going to be somewhat of a struggle fest. I think Texas is going to win 26-17. It's going to be closer. The scoreboard is going to say that, and you're going to wonder, why is this game so close when Texas has 430, 420 yards of offense. Clemson has 250, 260 yards of offense, and you're wondering, why was this game so close? It's because Texas lacks the ability to score points in the red zone. That's why this game will be closer than it should. That's why if we do win this game and we play Arizona State, that'll be the same story. And then if we play in Ohio State, and Tennessee, and Oregon, and we do that, we'll lose, because that's the story of this Texas season. It sucks to say that, but unless something changes, then that's what's going to happen. Now, if they do get better in the red zone, something magically happens and they go on a 4-game stretch, I think they win the national championship because they have that type of defense. Will it? I can't say that. There's been no proof of that, so I'm not going to say that. But I do think Texas wins, but I would take Clemson in the points here.
Do you think Texas fans, just the overall vibes, you probably know the vibes better than me, do you think they are respecting Clemson at this point?
Oh, yeah. I don't see anything disrespectful that I've seen of like, oh, we're going to kill them, da-da-da-da-da. They respect him because they know who the coach is. They know the talent there. They know Cade Klubnik. I mean, grew up in the state of Texas, won the 6A division championship in Texas, beat Quinn Ewers in that game for the state championship. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of respect there. But I just think we know, Texas fans know that we have more talent than them at this point. Like, our defense is loaded. Their defense has a couple good players, but they're nowhere near the national championship years with Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson talent level.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So we both take Clemson in the points there. I think we're both on the
Man, we're
under
agreeing too much here, man.
I know. I know we are. We're also on the under there as well in that game. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this turns out because I think we're literally on everything the same. So let's see how this one goes. Tennessee is getting 7 points versus Ohio State. The over-under here is 46.5. Game time temperature on this is going to be like 20 degrees, so that's going to be interesting. This will dispel the narrative if the SEC team comes south and wins, or it's close at least, of this can't play in the snow or cold or whatever BS I hear all the time about that. So that's going to be interesting. But how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, maybe for one of like the true Southern teams, like Florida or something. I think Tennessee. I think it snowed like earlier this week in Knoxville.
It is.
So there is that. I feel like this is the sexiest game of the weekend, right? Like this is when people heard about a 12-team playoff. Like these are the kind of games you imagine getting in the first round. I go back and forth about this Tennessee team. Like on one hand, like it feels like Tennessee's one of the most dangerous teams in the playoff, even though they're the 9 seed. But at the same time, like I wouldn't be surprised if they just laid an egg and we're out in round 1, and not that you have to lay an egg to lose to someone like Ohio State or by any means, but to me, I'm getting vibes of, I don't know if you remember 2021 Georgia, Michigan in the first round of the playoff. That was coming off of the SEC championship loss to Alabama, and so much toxicity among the Georgia fan base, and if Stetson Bennett should be the starter, yada yada. It felt like there was all this noise, and then the team just came out and was absolutely on point and had one of the best games I've ever seen from a Kirby Smart. Were they up 28-0 or 28-3 or something in the first half of that one? It was insane. But I'm kind of getting that vibe that with Ohio State, there's just so much negativity right now. They're getting a home playoff game here. Like, I still don't know how good Tennessee is, like, through 12 games. Like, the 2 times they went on the road 3 times this year, lost at Arkansas, they played at Oklahoma too. They beat Oklahoma. That's probably their best road win. Beat Vanderbilt on the road. They were down 14-0 to Vanderbilt early, but lost to Georgia and Arkansas, both on the road. Like this, I think it's a real thing with Josh Heupel's teams going on the road. They have not had a lot of success, and this team in general, at home or on the road, I mean, they had like 3 straight weeks where they didn't score in the first half. Like they've gotten off to a lot of slow starts. This offense, we all talk about what it could be, but not enough people talk about what it is. And it's been an average to below average offense in the SEC this year. The defense has been great. The running game has been really good. We're all waiting for Nico to be that guy. And if he is that guy, then they can win the national championship. But if he's the guy that he's been through the first 12 games, which is probably more likely, I think there's a real chance that we're looking up and Ohio State's up 21-0 at halftime.
Yeah, I think these teams kind of mirror each other, honestly. Like, good but not great quarterback play. Ohio State has a little bit more weapons at the wide receiver position than Tennessee does, but still good weapons on the outside. Both really good running backs, both shaky offensive lines, both really good defenses. So it's going to be interesting how this game turns out. I'm going to be straight up honest. I saw some numbers about Vegas. I think 70-something% of the money is on Tennessee +7, and the line hasn't moved. That tells me everything I need to know. If I'm laying money, I'm taking Ohio State in this game. I've changed my mind. Yesterday, I said Tennessee would cover. If Vegas knows something, if it's 70+% of the money on one team and the line isn't moving, it's because they're confident in that other team. So I would take Ohio State here to win the game and cover the spread. I think they'll come out angry, pissed off, and like you said, I think they'll kind of punch them in the mouth early. I think Tennessee will get back in the game, but I'm going to take Ohio State to cover here and win. I just think they have something to prove. Now, do I think they end up winning a national championship or going to a national championship? No. But do I think they beat Tennessee? Yes, I do. I think they're a overall better team than Tennessee in certain areas, and I think they'll be able to get things going through the air. At least they should try to get things going through the air more than they did versus Michigan. Do not stick to that running game plan. It will not work versus that Tennessee front 4 and front 7. You got to air it out a little bit more because that is the weakness of the Tennessee team, is their secondary, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, I don't know what they were doing versus Michigan. Like this offense hasn't been great all season by any means, but like 10 points versus Michigan. Like, Michigan has a good defense, but I don't know. It just felt like, running your head into a door over and over again, right? And expecting different results. Like, I just tend to think we're going to see a better Ohio State team, and we have seen a better Ohio State team this year. Like, Tennessee, they have the win over Alabama, and then it's not much else. There's not much else to hang their hat on throughout this regular season schedule. So I think at the end of the day, I'm not buying Tennessee more than I'm buying Ohio State. I'm selling Tennessee, I should say. So I think this one it probably isn't a blowout because these two defenses are so good, but I could see Ohio State winning like 28-14 or something like that and just kind of taking care of business.
Okay, so you would take the under here?
Ooh, I would definitely take the under. I think there's also a chance this game is played in the teens. Like, and Tennessee could keep it close if Ohio State does what they did against Michigan or Penn State for that matter. Tennessee is just built more like they feel like a Big Ten team, right? Like, this defense and this running game. Like, obviously they probably have, some more SEC speed. That's what we tend to see, the difference in the SEC. But do they have more than Ohio State? Ohio State's kind of that Big Ten team that is built different than most of the conference. So I would definitely go the under here. I don't see a lot of points being scored in this one, and I definitely don't see Tennessee scoring a lot of points in this one.
So we're going to disagree. This is our first disagreement. I'm taking the over. I think this game gets over slightly. I think it's like 48, 49 points, but everything else we agree on. So we'll see if that's the difference maker in our betting here. But it's going to be interesting. I did have a teaser on all these. I will say that. I didn't bet the original lines, but I did have a teaser. So I took Tennessee plus 13. I took Indiana plus 13.5. I took Penn State minus 2.5. And I took Texas minus 6. Or I took Texas actually minus 5.5 because that's what it was when I bet it. So I did bet on these, but with teaser lines because I'm not trusting myself with the other ones.
No, I feel you there, man.
So again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below.